everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we have another beautiful Saturday here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. We are broadcasting live from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve your quality of life. I want to thank all of you that leave messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your questions and comments. Also, please continue to let us know of topics or guests you'd like for us to have on future shows. We are here to help you improve your quality of life. Call or text us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 612-999-3426. We look forward to hearing from you. I am thankful to be here with you today, and I want to tell you, I had a great conversation with a new listener this week. I had the opportunity to talk with Bobby from Joplin, Missouri. She has an inspiring story of perseverance, a belief in herself, and a heart for helping others. She recently graduated college with a degree in biology, and she has an interest in genetics. Thank you for the conversation, Bobby, and we wish you the best in your life's journey. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our shows on the AM 950 radio website, and we can also be found on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and many other streaming services. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in the studio here is Amy Horn. She is a licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture here in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we'll be talking about the power of acupuncture and how it works with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for her patients. Now, what she does is combines ancient wisdom and modern technology and works with her patients to meet them wherever they're at on their healing and wellness journey. So whether you are looking to maintain an active lifestyle or address chronic illness, Amy Horn with Blue Branches Acupuncture can create a custom treatment plan to help you be your best self. So this is going to be a great show, folks. This is the first time in the show's history I've had an acupuncturist on the show. So I've been looking forward to this for quite a while, and I've also been a patient of acupuncture. So I've got some background in it in terms of being a patient. So looking forward to that conversation. I know you will have questions, so please get your questions into us early. Don't wait till the show ends. I get a lot of questions texted to me after the show. So please get your questions into us as soon as possible. Okay, before we begin our conversation with Amy, I want to mention we received several calls about last week's show with Christine Maxwell. She's the co-owner of the Maxwell House. That's an adult foster care home for senior men located in Rosemont, Minnesota. And we talked about their residential group home, again, specializing in senior men and how they provide for the unique needs of their residents with customized senior living services for men. So to contact Christine Maxwell, call 651-332-2159 or visit her online at maxwellhousecare.com. Once again, maxwellhousecare.com, or call her 651-332-2159. That was a fun show, and we got to get her husband, Kurt, on a future show here as well. I had a chance to stop over there this week and take a tour of their residential group home, and what a beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood. If you've got a loved one who is struggling to maintain living independently, give them a call. You would first of all love Christine and Kurt. They're great people, and they've got a beautiful home. So, all right. Well, also I'll mention we received several calls about the air purifier that I'm using in my home and at my office to keep my family and coworkers safe and healthy by continuously disinfecting both the air and surfaces. Now, the AERIS filtration system uses an exclusive technology developed by NASA to keep the astronauts safe while they're in space. This technology is called ActivePure, and it's now available for home and office use. This portable filtration system really takes care of pollutants, allergens, mold, bacteria, but most important, it kills viruses such as influenza and COVID-19. This system is used throughout the country in hospitals, schools, assisted living communities, daycares, restaurants, anywhere people gather together. So if you want more information about this amazing technology, now, folks, it's not just a filter. It's a two-stage. It filters the air, but also goes and releases ions that kill mold and bacteria and viruses. So if you want that for your home or office, just give the folks at Minnesota Hospice a call, 952-270-0345. Once again, 952-270-0345 to get more information or a free demonstration on this amazing technology that I use in my home and my office. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a text on our radio show phone, 612-999-3426. So you have two ways to get your questions answered today. One is by calling into the radio station, and that number is 952-946-6205. And our engineer here, Dan, will take care of you. He'll get you on the air and talk to us live. Or you can just text us your question at 612-999-3426. Once again, to call in, 952-946-6205, and Dan will get you on the air. All right, I want to quickly get to my guest today, Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we're going to be talking about the power of acupuncture and how it works with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for you. And welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Ken. I'm so happy to be here.
This is great. I'm seeing we already are starting to get text messages about questions about acupuncture.
Awesome.
It's this is going to be a great show. I mean, I already know we're not going to even get close to getting the information we want to talk about. I'm very excited about it. I've myself and other people I've known have had great results with acupuncture. And there's it's so much to talk about. We've only got a couple minutes left in this first segment, but let's just start by introducing you and who you are. My audience loves to hear about my guests. So tell us a bit about your background.
Well, it's an interesting one, and not unlike a lot of people, I think. I started out as a kid. I decided what I wanted to do with my life, and after doing that for about 15 years, I got really burnt out, and I was living far away from home. Twin Cities is where I grew up, where my family was, and so I moved back without a plan. The first time in my life with no plan. And
faith. You had faith.
I had something. Could have been desperation,
or
too.
Fear.
And during that time, it was such a time of clarification and awakening, and I started to experience pain in my shoulder and my hip. And somehow, I still really can't even tell you how, I started seeing an acupuncturist. And the pain went away. And what I didn't realize was that acupuncture was going to give me the space to really dwell in the question, who am I? And in that process, I would go see my doctors. I was a terrible patient. I would go see my doctors, and they would say, we think this is going on. And I would say, yeah, no, I don't think so. And, well, what about, we want you to take this med. And I was like, you know what, give me 6 months to figure it out. And if I can't, then maybe, possibly, I will consider listening to you, right, following your suggestions. So then I would go back to the acupuncturist and be like, all right, this is what we got to work on. And over time, this process of clarification, one step to the next, suddenly 2008, my whole world turned to get me back to school. I didn't know there were master's degree programs, but there are 2 here. And now, all these years later, here I am, happy, healthy, and happy to be here.
And helping others, and that's the key.
Yep.
All right, it's time for a short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we'll be talking about acupuncture and how it can help you. If you have a question, please call us 952-946-6205, or you can text me at 612-999-3426. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. I'm Ken Hageland. Please stay with us. Welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and how to improve the quality of your life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today in the main studio here at AM 950 is Amy Horn. She's a licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we'll be talking about the power of acupuncture and really how it works with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for her patients. And she's a fascinating person, folks. I wish you guys could hear our conversations on the breaks in between the segments here. That's a lot of fun. Anyway, we're going to talk about how she combines ancient wisdom and modern technology to help meet patients wherever they're at on their healing and wellness journey. There's so much information we're going to talk about here. We're not going to get it all in on one show, but if you have questions for her, a lot of people may not be familiar with acupuncture, even though it's becoming more widespread in the wellness and healthcare areas. Feel free to give us a call. Amy would love to answer your questions on that. So before we return to our conversation with Amy, though, I want to mention Minnesota Hospice. We are partially supported each week by Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is an independent physician-owned medical practice serving our local communities with innovative and comprehensive end-of-life health care. Minnesota Hospice has been helping thousands of patients and family members over the years with end-of-life health care. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you or your loved ones. Now, hospice brings comprehensive medical services to your doorstep. And the fascinating thing is it's no cost to you or your family. So all the patients at Minnesota Hospice have always said, I wish I would have known sooner. So I implore you, if you have any questions about end-of-life care, and this is not end-of-life the last 2 days. This is weeks, months of end-of-life. People don't even realize when their end-of-life will be. So it makes sense to get the information to know that when you just make that decision to focus on comfort care, that you talk to the people who do it every day and do it so well. In fact, they just won the People's Choice Award for Lakeville because they do such a great job. If you have any questions, call them, 952-898-1022, and you're going to get a licensed registered nurse because they answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you have any questions, call them, 952-898-1022, or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. All right, Amy, we're back. Let's let our audience know if they have any questions for you or want more information. What's the best way to get a hold of you or get more information?
Yeah, so my website is Blue Branches, the color blue, branches like a tree, bluebranches.com. And there's email on there, as well as the ability to book a session if you wanted to come in. I have a complimentary consultation, which is something that I really take a lot of pride in, for people to get more information, find out if acupuncture is right for them, find out if I'm right for them.
Right.
You know, if it's too long of a drive or I'm not the right practitioner, before they spend a lot of money, better to find that out. So those are the best ways. I work alone. I don't have a receptionist or anything like that. So it's sometimes difficult for me to answer the phone, although the phone number's on there as well. And I love to hear from people. Sometimes it's just we have to play a lot of phone tag. So email is a much easier, faster way to get a hold of me.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, and so again, bluebranches.com. That's very easy to remember. It's a nice website, a lot of information here, and you got a picture of Amy here as well. So check her out on the website. Now, it's also a very convenient location. I mean, you're just right there next to the Mall of America.
Yep,
so I mean, you can,
about a mile.
Yeah, so anybody can get to your location. All right. Well, I'm very excited to talk to you because again, I've experienced the benefits of acupuncture. I know many other people have done the same thing as well. Boy, this talk of meridians and all this kind of stuff, it almost boggles the mind a little bit for those people who are not familiar with that, especially people in Western societies like ours. But I want to go back to you. Because the more I talk to you, the more fascinated I get. And I love it, the fact so many of the people I have had on this show have had a point in their life where they were going one direction, and all of a sudden they had a tap on their shoulder, and they turn around, and it's a whole new direction. And it kind of happened a little bit with you, it sounds like. And those are the most passionate people because they find where their purpose lies. And the big secret, of course, is that's where your joy comes from.
Exactly.
And
yes.
so I love it. I mean, I didn't know much about you before you came to the studio, and it's always fun to hear your story, and it doesn't always come out in with our back and forth on getting ready for the show. But let's go back to that just a little bit, because I want people to understand. You were going one direction in life, and then all of a sudden, you were young,
Yeah.
and again, pain. All of a sudden, something in your life, kind of threw you off course in a sense, and that caused you to pause
Right.
and to start to seek.
Yes.
And then you end up finding resolution, finding help,
Yes.
and then also again gave you a direction.
Right. And so not only did the pain resolve, which is what pain is the most common reason people seek acupuncture, and it's a great entryway. It's the dynamic system, but pain, it's kind of our bread and butter. And I think the willingness to let the pain be the guidance. We want so much to never have pain,
Right.
whether that's physical or emotional or spiritual.
Right.
We want it all to be simple, and life rarely is. And thank goodness we can have the opportunity that I had the opportunity to go through and have the opportunity. I keep saying that word, but
it is.
But it is.
That's exactly what it is, though.
And to really examine, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world and be all that I can be, to shine,
Right.
to really shine. And I feel fortunate. I've had 2 careers of passion. And not everyone gets that.
Most don't have one.
Most aren't willing to really figure out what
That's
their passion
the word.
is.
That's
and
the word. Yep.
throw caution to the wind.
And
When I
risk
told
it, yeah.
my dad that I wanted to go to acupuncture school, he was like, "Why would you do that? You've got a good job. You don't know anything about the medical. If you had gone to medical school, it would make sense." And I'm like, "That's exactly why it makes sense." And I can't not. And so here I am, all these
Yeah.
years later. That was 2008 when I went back to school. So.
Oh, well, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when I ask my guests about your background, it's you start out with your bio for me. It said, well, I didn't really choose Chinese medicine. It chose me.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to have you share that with the audience, how if they have any issues or physical or other things in their life that they're struggling with, is to seek you out. I mean, they get free consultation.
Yeah.
So see if there's a connection there. Yep. And I always tell people, I run across so many people. I'm so blessed in my life. I talk to people all the time, and I hear their story, and they struggle with things for years. I mean, they're on treatment for years, or they're taking medications for years. And I said, "Are you any better today than you were years ago?" And you know what? Many times they go, "Actually, no, I'm not." I said, "Well, why don't you try something else? There's other paths that you can maybe try out and see if maybe that would help." But it's so fascinating to me. People will just do the same thing, and the definition of insanity, right, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I'm thinking, just try something different. And again, there's a lot to be said about that, but that's another show. So you went to school.
Yeah.
And you went to school here in the Twin Cities.
Yep. There are 2 schools in town that have master's degrees in acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine.
Okay.
And one is here in Bloomington, out of the chiropractor school.
Right.
And then the
Northwestern.
other is where I went up in Roseville, the American Academy of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
Yeah. We've only got about 30 seconds left in this segment. And what's interesting, too, is this is becoming more accepted in an integrative level in healthcare.
Yeah.
I mean, I know hospitals are using this in terms of pre-op and post-ops. And I mean, it's just fascinating to see that change. Now, when we get back, I want to start talking more about what is acupuncture.
Yep.
And I know I want you to share some stories about some of the patients you've had and some of the things you've done to help them. So looking forward to that as well.
Excellent.
All right, folks. I'm just telling you, if you have any questions about acupuncture, you want to give us a call. Give us a call, 952-946-6205. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we'll be talking about the power of acupuncture and how it can help work with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for you. All right, if you have a question, please call us 952-946-6205 or text us at 612-999-3426. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. I'm Ken Hagelin. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and ways to improve the quality of your life. My name is Ken Hagelin, and joining me today is Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we're talking about the power of acupuncture and how it works with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for her patients. If you have a question, please call us 952-946-6205 or text us at 612-999-3426. Before we return to our conversation with Amy Horn, I want to mention this program is brought to you in part by Episcopal Homes in St. Paul. What a great organization they are. They are offering a program called Neighbor Care. And if you know someone or if you are struggling to maintain living independently or maybe considering a move to an assisted living community, please call Neighbor Care. Neighbor Care is a new kind of in-home support service that's more affordable than traditional home care providers. This innovative new home care service is designed to help older adults remain independent by making in-home support services more affordable and accessible. Now, their care professionals can help with daily tasks in smaller time increments, even multiple times a day, as needed. This unique service is offered 24 hours a day by Episcopal Homes in St. Paul, and we've known them for more than 125 years. They've been serving the Twin Cities and understand the importance of a safe and supportive home environment. So if you have any questions about that Neighbor Care program, and right now the coverage area is in the urban core of St. Paul, right where their campus is. So if you have more information about that or any questions, call Karen Vento at 651-444-4000. Once again, Karen Vento, 651-444-4000, and see about Neighbor Care services in your neighborhood. All right. Well, Amy, let's get back into this. This is so fun. Again, what a great conversation during the break. Someday we will have to record those and put those on the podcast. But that's okay. Acupuncture.
Yeah.
I think when I talk to people about acupuncture or we have conversations, a lot of misinformation is out there, and one of the first things I hear is,
needles.
It sounds painful.
Yeah.
And they use needles, and do I have to get undressed? And there's why don't you help us kind of clear the mystery there?
Sure. So yes, we use needles, but we don't have to. There are some non-needle technologies, including lasers, that allow us to treat without needles if necessary, or with really young kids, for instance.
Oh, sure.
In terms of do you have to get undressed, it depends. So if you're coming to see me because you have back or neck pain, I'm going to put you face down on the table, give you a gown, and we're going to put needles in your back. For most of my patients, we do face-up treatment, which are generally needles from the elbows down and the knees down. So wear comfortable clothes, but you'll be clothed. And unlike the videos you see with, the guy who has 400 needles in his body trying to get out of a burning building, usually we like to use between 15 and 20 needles. The goal really is to use as few a number of needles as possible to give the maximum result. So we're not covering the body. We're doing our best to be thoughtful and specific.
Okay.
And the points are very specific. They all have their own functions and indications, and they're chosen for very specific reasons. Now, there are 12 meridians, so it's a different way of looking at the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to say Western medicine and Eastern medicine both completely agree on the fundamentals of the body, which takes some people by surprise. But ultimately, Western medicine says we know the cells of the body are specifically designed to both send and receive electrical signals. And Chinese medicine also says that is true. Now, they have a different name for that electricity. They call it qi. Mm-hmm. And I've been really talking about it in terms of electricity instead of energy. I think energy was a great word in 1970 when it first came into the U.S. But we've grown in our understanding of that now. And in Minnesota, at least, acupuncturists are licensed under the same board as the MDs. So the more that we can help bridge the gap in the communication and our languaging, I think is helpful. So using qi and the 12 meridians, which are all named for organs, which sometimes relates specifically to the organ. Often it's about where the organ runs and where it gets started. We can choose points based on a lot of different things. So if you come in and you've got headaches and you've got shoulder pain, we don't have to choose. We can do both, right?
Okay.
And so many people come in and we're used to as a culture with saying, if I have knee pain, I go see the person who deals with knee pain. If I have high blood pressure, I go see the person who deals with that. And if I've got thyroid issues, I go see that person. And it's all compartmentalized. We're Chinese medicine, really, because it's pattern-based, a lot of those symptoms, which I see as symptoms, Western medicine sees as diagnosis, we can address a lot of them at the same time. Mm-hmm. And the overlap with the points means that one point can treat a number of things, perhaps. And so, so does that answer your question?
It does. And I think what confuses people sometimes is, well, if I have a headache, why are you putting a needle in my foot?
Yeah.
Or in my hand? Again, not understanding that the whole body is connected.
Right. And interestingly enough, in functional MRIs, they've done tests where they, will do large intestine 4, which is here on the hand, mm-hmm. which is known for pain, specifically for the head, anywhere in the head. So headache. A lot of people know, press that point if you've got a headache.
I've told people that here. I'll do it for them just because they have a hard time. Just it's easy to do with somebody else's
exactly.
hand. Yeah.
But when they needle that point and put somebody in do a functional MRI, that the parts of the brain that they would expect to light up, to be pain relief and the head light up. So there's a lot of how they knew this. I think it was a lot of meditation. But at the end of the day, the points work the way they're supposed to work.
Right. And
the wisdom of the body is so immense, and we get farther and far away from that sometimes, and then we come a little closer. But the wisdom of the body, when we are willing to just relax and trust it and give it the tools it needs, mm-hmm. it's amazing what will happen.
Well, we were talking off the air just a bit about how lifestyle and the way we think affects so much of how our body responds. And one person said that the body really is a manifestation of what you're thinking.
Yeah.
There's I think the CDC even years ago put out a paper and said that they think 90% of all the chronic illness in America is psychosomatic. It's driven by the brain and how people think, and even Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, said whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Exactly.
And so you're right. People pausing. Sometimes pain forces us to finally sit down and pause and think.
Right.
And I think one of the things you were saying off the air was Chinese medicine or acupuncture and the meridians. they've been doing it for over 2,000 years. I mean, this is not like a fad. I mean, it's not like the newest diet treatment
Right.
to lose some weight, even though I've heard that acupuncture actually does help you lose weight.
It can,
But it's been around. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, like you say, how they figured that out 2,000 years ago is really a mystery to me.
One of the things that amazes people is when I tell them, Chinese medicine there isn't germ theory in Chinese medicine.
That's right.
That germ theory is really recent in our development. Now, because it's so integral into the way we think it's been around forever.
Right.
But when you go back, they didn't have microscopes.
Right.
I mean, maybe they did, but we don't know about it.
Right.
And certainly wasn't part of the medicine. So to be in a place where if you come in with a diagnosis, that's great. That points to a number of different things usually for me, but you don't have to. And honestly, the people who don't have diagnoses because of the way they think, they're not attached to that. We get so attached to these things thinking that I am high cholesterol or I am
high blood pressure, yes.
or I am a slipped disc or a bulging disc. And well, those things can be part of our experience. They don't define who we are.
Very good. That's true. So how long typically are your appointments? Any sense of what would a person expect coming into having a treatment?
The first treatment is usually a little bit longer than an hour, or at least we allow for it to be, so that there's time for questions and conversation and getting to know each other, which is a really important part of what I do. Generally, we allow about an hour. So what happens is people come in, we do a quick check-in, we go in, do a test that I run with every treatment, every patient called Accugraph. It's a quick little 2-minute exam that measures electricity and puts it into the 12 meridians, and it gives me information about how to make it a more effective treatment for my patients, but also gives the patients some information in Western mindset terms that helps them be more engaged in their treatment as well, but also gives us the ability to track progress over time, which is something traditional acupuncture is not so great at.
That is important because that's the struggle I think some people have is that I'm used to a blood test or I'm used to some kind of test and it measures, and again, because they're not innately letting themselves let their body tell them how they're doing. They need to see some external result, which is truly Western thought.
But it's great because it engages patients. It helps me, and so once we do that, we get you on the table, put in our needles. Needles are not supposed to hurt. They're fine. They're like a cat's whisker. They move around like that, and they're single-use sterile needles, so they don't get reused. But once we get the needles in, the patient rests for about half an hour, 25 minutes, and then we pull the needles, they get off the table, and we talk about next steps.
Well, we'll talk about next steps here, and we're going to get to a couple stories in our last segment. So people stay with us here. I want Amy to share some of the stories of some of her patients that have had great results here with acupuncture treatments. All right, we'll be right back. It's time for a short break. If you have any questions, please give us a call, 952-946-6205. We are talking with Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we've been talking about the power of acupuncture and how it can work with Western medicine to create the highest outcomes for her patients. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Hageland. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health, your life, and ways to improve your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, And joining me today in the studio is Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And just over the break here, I've got a number of texts coming in. I appreciate that, folks. So we're going to quickly just jump right into this last segment and try to answer some of these questions that have been coming in, and also let people know how they can get a hold of you, Amy, if they have questions or want more information.
Yep. So Blue Branches Acupuncture is the name of my clinic, and bluebranches.com is the website. And on there you'll find both the phone number, which is 612-567-2470, or info@bluebranches.com. You can also book a complimentary consultation on that website. So.
All right, and I would encourage that. First of all, Amy is so engaging. You just love her. So I encourage people to do that. Okay, so some of the questions coming in here. How long does it take for a session? And like you say, leave an hour, but usually the patient is relaxing and laying there and letting the meridian and the energy and the electricity all do their thing.
What's beautiful is different than other therapies like massage, and I've got a massage therapist in my office who's amazing, but there's not another practitioner. It's just you. When you're in there, it's just you and your body and getting in touch with that. And I often tell patients, three sessions, and you're going to start to be aware of your body in ways that you aren't now. And usually by the third one, they're being able to report what their bowel movements are like, or things that they never could or ever thought about.
Right.
And so that you get to experience the power of your own body without me being in the space, without me influencing it, it's so empowering to patients.
Yeah. And it gives you a chance actually to pause again. No one just pauses anymore in life and reflects.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, great. Well, one of the questions that we have, and I knew this would come up, we've got a listener who's talking about headaches.
Headaches.
And here she's again very honest, saying, hey, I went to an acupuncturist and didn't do anything for me.
Yep.
And so can you talk about, do you treat headaches or migraines, and is that a part of your practice?
Absolutely. I see a lot of headaches. And often, as Western medicine, or as Western people, we want to hit a headache with a hammer. We want to hit everything with a hammer. But so that's where Acugraph can come in really handy to get to the root of the problem. Rather than trying to treat a headache, sometimes it's what's underneath that. And maybe often it's dehydration on some level. So addressing that, but also recognizing that every practitioner is going to have a little different take on it. They're going to read the body a little bit differently. And honestly, we treat ourselves all the time. I'm going to diagnose you based on me, and somebody else is going to diagnose you based on them. Mm-hmm. And that's just fine. But what it means is that not every acupuncturist is the right fit for every person, which is why I love the complimentary consultation, because I am not the right fit for everybody, but I might be the right fit for you. And headaches, I treat a lot of headaches.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing too is, first of all, you're very down to earth. So again, for people looking for someone who I think can empathize, I mean, you went into this profession because of pain that you were experiencing.
Right.
So there's a certain amount of empathy I can just sense from you as we talk and as I get to know you. And I really am enjoying having you on the show here. But I think you're right. A lot of times it seems like your treatments, the way you describe them, kind of uncovers things that people don't even realize that they have, that may be contributing or be the root cause of what the body's manifesting in pain.
Right. And, guys in particular, no offense, Ken, but guys in particular come in and they'll say, I have knee pain, fix my knee pain. And when I say, well, how are you sleeping? And they say, well, I sleep fine. They're a little irritated. I sleep fine, fix my knee.
Right.
And then we go in and we do the graph, and I'll say, okay, well, clearly your knee's hurting, but what about your shoulders? All of your shoulder meridians are off. You can see that? Oh, yeah, I can see that. Oh, well, yeah, they do hurt. They're just not my top priority, right? Or we'll go in and I'll say, have you been eating ice cream? And they'll get this look of terror, like, how did you know that?
You caught me, right.
So, well, it's right here in the graph, right? So
Right.
there's so many underlying conditions, and sometimes when we've been suffering with something for a long time, it becomes such a focal point
Right.
that we end up unintentionally perpetuating it.
Right.
And so breaking that cycle, and not every acupuncturist will tell you this, but I'll say if you got to take an Advil just to break the pain cycle,
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody benefits from you soldiering through and just ending up in more pain and then not sleeping, and then now you're in more pain because you're not sleeping, and now you're not eating right because you're
Right.
tired.
It's a domino effect.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's break the pain cycle, get a little sleep, and see where we're at.
That just sounds like my hospice practice. Let's deal with the pain, and then we can deal with the emotions and the spiritual side. I mean, you got to just stop that, because you're right. That becomes almost an identifier. How we identify ourselves is with this pain. I tell you, the other thing I hear people say is they'll ask them, well, how are your bowel movements and your digestion?
Yeah.
And they go, that has nothing to do. And you have no idea. No, just them saying that, and I can tell. I mean, that's exactly. I always ask those questions too. You know, how are you sleeping, and how are your bowel movements? And you're right, they're not good. But that is my problem, though.
Right. I'll go take some Metamucil, and
Right.
everything will be fine.
And again, treating the symptom,
Right.
not the cause.
So I have 2 rules at the clinic.
Yeah, 1 minute left.
Okay. The first rule is make the rules so you can win. The second rule is there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. And both of those say, let's figure out how this works for you in terms of how many times you come in. I've got some experience that'll tell me what I think I'll expect, but you're the only one in your body.
Right.
So let's empower you to figure that out, and in all of the parts of your life,
Yeah.
how it fits.
Well, I tell you, folks, we're at the end of the show here, but here's Amy Horn. No judgment, right? I mean, she wants you as you are.
Yes.
Go into her, check out her treatments, her services. I really encourage you to, if you haven't tried it, try it with Amy.
I would love to see you. I'd
All
love to
right.
meet you.
All right. Well, Amy Horn, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Blue Branches Acupuncture in Bloomington, Minnesota. And we've been talking about the power of acupuncture and how it works with Western medicine to then create the highest outcomes for her patients. And she wants you to live your best life here. So check her out. What's the phone number, Amy, to get a hold of you?
612-567-2470 or info@bluebranches.com.
All right. Her website is bluebranches.com. All right, folks. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us with any questions or comments you have regarding today's conversation. You can always reach us by phone or text at 612-999-3426. Please join us again next Saturday at noon for another live broadcast. And thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, live well.
Singing Italian songs.